All right. Let's dive into Fundamentals of Insight Meditation by the Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw.
Oh, great choice.
Insight meditation, it sounds a little intense, right? Like we need to be on a mountaintop somewhere.
Right, yeah.
But this text is really relatable, even if you've, never meditated before in your life.
It is. It's surprisingly down to earth.
Yeah.
And that's because it's actually a translation of talks that were given to everyday people.
Oh, wow.
People who are just starting out with meditation.
Interesting. So it's like we're getting a meditation 101
Exactly.
straight from the source.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not just theory, right? This is about actually using these teachings
Absolutely.
in our everyday life.
Yeah, it stresses that Buddhism is about living it,
Yes.
not just thinking about it.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's what, we all want, right?
Right.
Those little nuggets that we can actually use.
Yeah, yeah.
So one of the things I thought was interesting right off the bat was this idea of tranquility versus insight.
Okay.
And I always thought meditation was about getting zen,
Right.
just pure calmness.
Yeah, that's what most meditations, I think, aim for, that peaceful,
Right.
tranquil state of mind. But this one actually draws a distinction there.
Okay.
It says that insight meditation, it takes it a step further.
Interesting.
It's about cultivating this tranquility that lets you actually see,
Okay.
really see
Oh, wow.
the nature of reality.
Intense. So it's not just about feeling calm. It's about understanding more deeply.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. And they call that deeper understanding. That's what they're calling insight.
Okay. Gotcha. So this deeper seeing, what does that look like? How would that actually show up in our lives?
Well, think about it.
Mhm.
Whether you're, facing some decision at work,
Sure.
or you're dealing with, a tough relationship, or even just trying to manage your to-do list,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be great to approach all that with
Yeah.
more clarity,
Yes.
with more wisdom?
100%.
Yeah,
So how do we get to that? How do we get to that insight?
right.
Because he talks about these 5 aggregates,
Yeah.
which, not a term I use every day.
No, it sounds kind of technical,
Yeah.
but it's actually pretty simple. It's not like some mystical thing. It's literally just like the building blocks of our experience
Okay.
happening right now in this moment.
Really? Okay.
Okay.
Tell me more about that.
So it's breaking down our experience into 5 categories.
Okay.
And they are material form, so
Okay.
your physical body,
Okay.
feelings,
Okay.
perceptions, so how we're seeing things,
Okay.
mental formation, so our thoughts, and consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
which is that awareness that's always there.
Okay. So it's kind of like this whole symphony of things happening
Yeah, exactly.
that we don't even realize.
And all the time, constantly.
Wow. But how does knowing that, how does that help us?
So here's the thing.
Okay.
Without realizing it,
Yeah.
we tend to cling to these things, our thoughts, our feelings, even our bodies,
Right.
as if they're solid, permanent parts of us.
Right. Like they define us.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this clinging, or this grasping as they call it in the text, it's actually the root of a lot of our suffering.
Because they're always changing.
Exactly. They're not fixed, solid things.
Right.
They're constantly changing, arising, and passing away.
Okay. So if we're clinging to them like they're us, we're setting ourselves up
For suffering.
disappointment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're attaching ourselves to something that's inherently unstable.
It's not going to last.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And that's where the insight meditation comes in.
Exactly. That's where the practice comes in.
Yeah.
Because it helps us to see that, to see these aggregates for what they really are, which is temporary and ever-changing,
Okay.
and to free ourselves from clinging to them.
Okay. And he kind of scares us a little bit
He does.
by saying, what happens if we don't?
Yeah. It's not all, sunshine and roses. He
Okay.
gets into the
Yeah.
nitty-gritty.
He tells the story of Ojata Satu.
Yeah, exactly. That's a powerful story.
Yeah.
Because it shows just how, clinging to that false sense of self, in that case is power, can have devastating consequences.
Right. And so that kind of brings up a question for me, though. So if it's all about this clinging, does that mean we shouldn't do anything?
A great question.
Should we not try to achieve anything? Should we not help others? Because that's clinging, too, in a way.
Right, and that's a really important point to clarify, because it's a common misconception.
Okay.
He's not saying to just become passive and do nothing.
Okay.
It's not about giving up on action altogether.
Okay, so there's a nuance there.
Much more nuance than that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about recognizing the difference between actions that are driven by clinging, like that desire for praise, the
Right.
fear of failure, versus actions that are coming from a place of genuine compassion and understanding.
Okay, so it's okay to help others.
Yeah, as long as you're, coming from the right place.
Right, exactly. But how do we do that?
Yeah.
How do we make sure we're coming from that place of compassion
Right.
and not from like our own ego or whatever?
Right, and that's where the actual practice of insight meditation comes in.
Okay, so let's get practical. How do you actually do this? Because I'll be honest, when I think of meditation, I think of like,
Right.
sitting cross-legged for hours
Yeah.
and struggling.
Yeah, it can feel kind of intimidating, but the instructions in this text are like really straightforward
Okay, good.
and simple. Like it all starts with something really basic that we all do naturally,
Mm.
focusing on your breath.
Okay, I can do that.
Right.
Yeah, I can breathe.
Exactly. So he talks about, just starting by noticing the physical sensation of your breath
Okay.
as it enters and leaves your body.
Okay.
So you might notice like the rise and fall of your abdomen,
Okay.
or the coolness of the air as you inhale, the warmth as you exhale.
So instead of getting caught up in your thoughts, you're kind of like
Exactly.
bringing it back to
Something physical. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's about, training your mind to stay grounded in this present moment rather than getting lost in, the past or the future, those what ifs.
Right, right. But what about when those thoughts come in? Because they always do, right? Like my mind is like constantly
we
going,
Yeah.
what do we do with those?
Yeah. And he acknowledges that,
Okay.
you're not going to just magically, silence your mind.
Right.
It's not about that. It's actually more about learning to just observe those thoughts and feelings as they come up
Okay.
without judgment.
There's that word again.
Yeah.
Non-judgment. No, right?
Easier said than done. It takes practice.
It's time.
But it's about shifting from that, like, getting really reactive and hooked by every thought to more of like a gentle curiosity.
Yeah.
Like just noticing, oh, there's that thought and letting it go.
Like a cloud.
Exactly. Like watching clouds drift by.
I like that.
Yeah.
Instead of like grabbing onto them.
Exactly. Exactly.
So we're not trying to like pretend they're not there,
Right.
but we're just like changing our relationship to them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, becoming more of an observer.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so how long do we have to do this for? Because,
Right, who has the time?
yeah, like we're busy people.
Right, and that's what's so cool about this approach is he really emphasizes like consistency over duration.
Okay.
It's not about, having to meditate for like hours on end.
Okay.
He actually suggests incorporating like short bursts of mindfulness
Okay.
throughout your day,
I like that.
even if it's just, a few minutes here and there.
So it's kind of like building a muscle. It's about
Exactly.
the reps.
Yes.
Exactly.
Necessarily how long you're at the gym.
Exactly. You can weave those moments of awareness into like the fabric of your everyday life.
I like that. So you could be like brushing your teeth
Yes.
or, doing the dishes
Exactly. Or stuck in traffic.
and just like bringing that awareness to it.
Exactly. Just those little moments to reconnect with the present moment.
I like it. Okay, so what does it feel like? What do people actually
okay.
feel when they're doing this?
Yeah.
Is it bliss and rainbows?
Right. That's the big question.
Yeah. Because, you hear a lot of stuff
Right.
out there, and he's actually pretty refreshingly honest about it. He's like, look, people experience a whole range
Okay.
of feelings during meditation.
Okay.
Some of them are really pleasant.
Yeah.
You might feel, joy or lightness or a sense of deep peace.
Yeah.
But you might also experience, restlessness or boredom, even, physical discomfort.
So it's not always fun.
It's not a magic, fix-it pill.
Got it. Got it.
He really emphasizes that this is a process. It's a journey.
Yeah.
And like any journey,
There's ups and downs.
there are going to be ups and downs. Exactly.
So how do you deal with those ups and downs? Because I think that's what people,
Right, because it can be discouraging.
it can be. Yeah.
Yeah. The key is to just remember that all those experiences, whether they're, pleasant or unpleasant,
Yeah.
they're temporary.
Yeah.
Like they arise, they linger for a bit, and then they pass away.
Okay.
And the more we can kind of like just observe them without getting swept away by them,
Right.
the more, freedom and peace of mind that we can actually cultivate.
So it's almost like you're finding that center, like that
Exactly.
still point
That's a good way to put it.
within yourself.
Yeah.
Like no matter what chaos is happening outside.
Yeah. It's like, recognizing that, You're not your thoughts.
Right.
You're not your feelings. You're not even like your experiences. There's something like deeper
Yeah.
that's always present.
Yeah. And I can see why this book,
Right.
has resonated with people
Yeah.
for so long, because it really is like a whole,
It's a different way of being.
different way of seeing things.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not just about meditation.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So what about those people
Right.
who aren't ready to meditate? Is there anything in this book for them?
Absolutely. Like, even if you never, sit down on a cushion
Right.
and meditate,
Yeah.
there's so much like valuable insight in this text.
Okay, what? Give me one good takeaway
Yeah.
for someone who's maybe dipping their toes into this.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the biggest takeaways is this idea that, we tend to identify so strongly with all these things that we think make up who we are, right?
Yeah.
Like our jobs, our possessions.
Our personality.
Yeah, exactly. Our personality, our opinions.
Yeah.
And he's encouraging us to kind of see through that, to see that those things are actually impermanent,
It's true, and it's kind of scary, but also I can see how it would be really freeing at the same time.
Yes.
Because it's like if you're not holding on so tight
Right.
about all that stuff.
What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
And he says that, by releasing that grip, that's how we actually tap into more peace, more ease, more appreciation for just this moment as it is.
Yeah, instead of always chasing that next thing.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And he's clear that this doesn't mean that you become passive or unambitious.
Or-
It's more about just bringing this awareness and intention to your actions, so that you're choosing to act from a place of wisdom and compassion rather than just being, reactive and driven by your fears.
So it's more about your internal state than it is about the externals.
Yes, exactly. He's saying true happiness, true fulfillment, it doesn't come from clinging to all the external stuff.
Right.
It comes from cultivating this inner peace,
Right.
this inner freedom that can't be shaken by, the ups and downs of life.
Right, right. It makes me think of that quote
Yeah.
that, the root of suffering is attachment.
Yes.
And this whole book is kind of
It's all about that.
explaining that,
Yeah. And then offering a way out,
Yeah.
It's not a quick fix. He's very clear about that it takes effort, it takes patience, it takes a willingness to really look at yourself honestly.
Yeah, and I think, even though it's Buddhism, it's we can all relate to this, right?
Oh, absolutely.
No matter what your background is.
Yeah, it's a very
Yeah.
human
Yeah.
experience, I think, to want to find that lasting peace, that happiness, to break free from those cycles of suffering.
Totally. And I like how he kind of empowers you to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah,
It's not here are the rules, you must follow them.
He doesn't give you a 10-step program.
Right.
He's more look, this is my experience. This is what I found to be true. See if it resonates with you.
Yeah. Try it out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Experiment, explore. Find your own path.
That's what I love about these deep dives.
Me too.
It's just exploring these ideas. So as we kind of wrap up our deep dive on fundamentals of insight meditation,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with this. What if you approached each moment not with a sense of I've got to cling to this or
Yeah.
I've got to grasp onto this, but with a sense of what is this?
Yes. What if? Right. Curiosity.
Yeah. Until next time.